Making a face. Why are you?
3, 2, and 1. Why, hello, everybody. And welcome to Fight Club. Don't say hey.
Freaking week. Show mid-sentence. We have no idea what we're doing.
It's time, people.
Nuts, Michelle.
It's beautiful.
It's not
time.
beautiful. It's the opposite.
It's going to be June tomorrow, which means what for everybody? Meaghan, don't cough. Which means what for everybody? What's everybody doing for June? Because it's the last month of Q2, which means goals and all that stuff is what everybody's probably going to talk about. So we may talk about that today on Old School. Our sweet guest was sick today, so it's just going to be the four of us.
Yeah.
So welcome to Fight Club, everybody, and happy Tuesday. Hey, Tay, how are you?
Hey, welcome back, everyone. So normally I have a really long introduction, but it'll be super short today. So welcome back to Fight Club, everyone. We're the show for home service business owners looking to improve their marketing, finances, systems, and culture. We're a team of self-employed industry experts, and this week we're going old school. We're doing the four of us. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the end of Q2 and get you guys kind of hopefully amped up and ready to wrap up this quarter and then head into Q3. So super excited to have y'all on, and we'll go ahead and do our brief introductions ourselves. So my name is Taylor Maroney. I co-own a power washing company in South Florida with my husband, and I worked in marketing for about 6 years, where I found my passion for helping business owners understand the analytics and the numbers behind marketing so they can make better decisions based upon that. So super excited to be back with y'all today. Super excited to be old school, and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Fight Club.
I feel like I'm the opposite of today. I am really grumpy today. I'm moving, and I'm at my office before 7 a.m., which is like a bad day. But my name is Meaghan Likes. I'm the founder of Bookkeeping Academy Online. I educate and empower small business owners to know their numbers so they can live more financially rewarding lives. I also own a full service accounting firm, which is where I am today, Likes Accounting Company. And I co-own a window cleaning, gutter cleaning company with my husband, Jeff, called Jeff Likes Clean Windows, based out of Northern California. And okay, I guess I like Fight Club. I can't be grumpy for the whole thing. I just off to a rough start this morning. That's all. Welcome back to Fight Club, everybody.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Michelle, co-owner of Pink Collars. And if you need help outsourcing your calls and texts and voicemails and emails and all of that awesome customer service, we can absolutely help. And it's June, which is a time of renewal, not really spring, but exciting time of renewal. And I'm thrilled to be here today. And I'm excited to go old school. I don't think we've done an old school Fight Club this year, even maybe. Have we done one this year? Don't know. Okay.
And I'm
It's been a super long time. I'm going to pass it over to Martha to say hello. Okay, let's do it.
Hello, Martha Woodward here, co-founder of Quality Driven Software, out there to help you build happier workplaces. So, and maybe a happier Meaghan today. We'll see.
I don't even remember how to do old school, guys. It's been that long, I think.
It's been a really long time.
I mean, I feel like we haven't done old school since like PPP was a thing.
Let's get some questions.
Share it.
Yes. Questions. Drop any questions in the comment section below. If you are on Facebook Live with us, feel free to ask us kind of about anything that's on your heart, your mind, any troubles you're going through. We'd be happy to help you navigate some of those. As far as, I guess I'll kind of take it first, since that's what I normally do. Marketing wise, we haven't changed too much stuff. I don't know about you guys. We're right in the middle of our busy season for power washing in South Florida. So we don't tend to change too much during this time of year. We kind of stick to our initial game plan and budgeted marketing funds for the beginning of the year and to this time frame. But once we get into like the end of June, that's when I start to kind of change some things up. So I'm starting to work on some emails and text blasts and things of that sort that are going to go out in some sequences, just to make sure we're getting in touch with some new and old customers, working with them directly, and starting to really upsell some of our paper sealing services, because that's some new stuff we're working on. But as far as marketing for that goes, reason I'm not changing anything is everything's working, right? So it's going well, it's working. Our Google ads are running fantastic. Our SEO is doing very well. So when things like that are working and you are in the heart of your busy season, you don't necessarily have to change things. If you are in need of more leads, you are needing a little bit more coming in, and you don't want to spend the exuberant amount of money that does have to go to Google Ads, you can do some things on social media and ways that you can kind of organically and kind of guerrilla market your way into getting some more upsells as well as new jobs coming in. So one way I love to do that is through Facebook groups. I know we talked about this before, but that's one that's really easy. And you can even have yourself or your admin hop on and do that once a day for, 30 minutes, just kind of scan through some Facebook groups. And really what you're doing is they make it easy. They make it so that you can have a search. There's a search bar in all the groups, so you can search for a topic. So you could search for, say, I'm looking for Meaghan's services or Michelle's. So I'm looking for a virtual assistant, or I'm looking for a window cleaning company. I can be able to search those keywords in Facebook groups and really be able, to get the immediate return and see exactly what people have looked for those services, and then be able to market my services towards them. So if I'm Michelle, I'm searching for virtual admin, I'm able to see that companies are in need of that. I can be able to immediately start to contact those companies through those Facebook posts and say, hey, I have a great solution for you. This is a company that I built and started and now has grown to X amount of clientele, and I'm able to offer you XYZ services if that's something you're looking for.
I have a question. Can I ask a question? Okay, so we had a meeting last week with a lead technician that is looking to take on more of an admin role. And so we're building a marketing windows. Can you help me talk through like what that looks like? Because part of me thinks his business, it might be more beneficial to have somebody in our company do that for him. And it was really like a fun, she's young, she's like into TikTok, she's into all these cool things. So it was a fun conversation that we started having. So I can share a little bit of what I put out, but you share with me like what you think should be looking for and how that should be structured, and like maybe if you built out a marketing position for your company, like what that would look like.
Yeah. So it's going to
be a good use of our time. Is that helpful?
I think that'll be a fun. We haven't done this before, so this will be fun. Okay. So it's going to be very custom, obviously, depending on everyone's marketing game plan. So with yours in particular, Meaghan, you haven't gotten into Google Ads still, right? No Google Ads, no SEO, no funds going into those areas, right? Okay, just making sure you haven't changed your ways.
I'm allergic to advertising today, but I have a really pretty brand that I am tempted to like put everywhere now. So, awesome. So let me share some of the things I wrote down, and then you can tell me if I'm on the right track or where we should change it. Like before and afters, thank you, Martha, for the Employee Love Program. They're running like a campaign this month where like we bribe all the staff $5 for every before and after. We're gonna give a $100 prize to whoever submits the most before and afters by the end of the month. Like we were trying to like really, get up a bunch of, I don't know, content, I guess.
Yes.
But then getting that in social media. So she was like, yeah, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I was like, I don't know what two of those things are, but sure, yeah, that sounds great. The monthly newsletter, we've been talking with Jonathan Maynard and Christina in his office about their beautiful monthly newsletter. Tay, we've talked about it a lot. I hate talking about things over and over again. Like I need somebody to just do it. So we talked about that. Those referral cards, I still haven't printed them. So like, could she print them? Business cards, lawn signs. I don't have any lawn signs. I think we should get lawn signs. Gift certificates. I don't know if there's anybody in the audience, but we get asked for certificates like every week, and it's a pain in the butt for us to type out the name of the organization. Like that could be a marketing person's job, right? Google reviews, SendGem optimization, going to the Chamber of Commerce, not in our town. Oh, Paisley's on. Yay. I dropped it in the Rockstar group, ladies, so that hopefully they jump on. In the news, Jeff made the front page of the Sunday paper the other day, and we didn't even share it with anybody, like, except for on Facebook. Like, we should do that. Okay, that's what I got so far, kind of on this Google Doc.
That's a great baseline. So we actually asked the question if you're writing your monthly newsletters for employees or for the community. And based upon what I've talked with both Meaghan and Jonathan and Christina about, Jonathan and Christina base their monthly newsletter to their community. So there's great ways that you can do that. And we've talked about it before, but briefly, you can just like include events for the community. You can include specials. You can include some safety tip for the homeowners themselves. So those are a couple things that you can include for the newsletter.
My newspaper has like an embed code for our community calendar. And so we were able to like plug that in so that it's dynamic. Like we don't even have to keep up the community calendar. You just like plug in this calendar into that newsletter, which I think is cool. Like let somebody else do that for you. And then I found some really cool like home checklists that I think we could incorporate. Like, so themes by month, like change your air filters, change your smoke alarm batteries, like things that I think our homeowners, our ideal clients would find useful.
Absolutely.
But Paisley, I came across Martha's 52 weeks of onboarding the other day. Like that could be a newsletter also. That could be a weekly newsletter, right? That we could build out. I'm sure Martha has thoughts about how to curate that experience, but it could absolutely be done for internal customers too.
100%. So as far as what you've kind of broken down, Meaghan, so you've got a lot covered, right? We've got the social media. Sorry, the dogs are in the office today, so I apologize. We've got the social media. So we've got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're covering newsletters, which is your email base going out to your employees. Sounds like she's covering Nice Job as well for you, which is going to be all of your reviews, anywhere from Google to Facebook to any other connections on those platforms that you may have. We've also got the branding as well, that's the biggest thing that's new for you right now is your brand new brand redesign that's come out. And there's so much you can be able to really use that on social media for. So I think you have a great baseline right now for what she's about to start working with. A couple things that would be useful would be definitely a calendar of some sort for hers. You know, that Trello social media calendar I may or may not have made for you. And
it's coming back. It's coming back.
That would be fantastic because then you will have the capabilities to not only be able to see what she's developing and putting out there, but make sure it has your stamp of approval because you do have such a brand new redesign for the brand. That will allow you to make sure everything's aligning properly with the brand itself. Now, I do think she should be the one going through Facebook groups. That would be a great opportunity for her. Another really awesome thing for Instagram and TikTok is using quick videos to explain processes. And then that can be even sent to clients quickly whenever they're asking questions via text message or phone call that to your admin that say, hey, what is the way that you guys do the soft washing process again? Do you have like a quick video you can send me of that? Oh yeah, absolutely. Here's a link to our video we made on TikTok or Instagram. Because if you send them those direct links, people think you have to have an account with those companies to be able to access them. That's not necessarily true. As long as it's a public profile, you can be able to send them a link and they can view that particular video. If they wanted to continue further and look at more information on that company's page, that's where they would have to have an account. So you can kind of use it for multiple purposes, not only for quick videos to explain your processes and what your company does, but also use it to really be able to educate your current clientele that you're working with. The newsletter is going to be fantastic and game changing, I think, for you all. I know that's something I've been consistently trying to get going as well. I know we've been talking about this, I think, since January of this year. So it definitely is something, if you are looking to do a monthly newsletter, you need to make sure you do have someone who's dedicated to it. It does take time. It is something that you do need to make sure is eloquently written and you are speaking to your client avatar for that. So having a marketing person who really is excited about the business, excited about the brand, and excited about your community is really the three ideals, in my opinion, to make sure that those newsletters really work successfully.
Okay, last question. I'm all about accountabilities lately. We kind of turned a corner where we're having weekly meetings and people are reporting back to us. So how do we set her up for success to know that she's doing, like, because the job doesn't exist yet, right? The position doesn't exist yet. So like, how do we define like, hey, good job this week or bad job this week? Not really bad job, Martha. I would never say bad job this week, but you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
What should goals be? And Does she set them? Do we set them? Do you help me set them? How does that work?
I would gladly help you set them, just to put that on record. But I think I'm going to pull a Michelle here and say definitely use a Trello board. With Trello, you have the capability of scheduling and, sitting down with her and having a meeting, the Friday before, and really saying, okay, this is our game plan for next week. This is what we're going to work on. These are the asks I have of you, and these are the deadlines associated with these asks. Most marketing people work very well on deadlines. So you want to make sure you are deadline oriented. And then from there, once you've really been working with her for a little bit longer, the initial phase is really going to be getting the content out there. So it's going to be your accountabilities per se are going to be, did she post on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook? Did she get the monthly newsletter out? Is she engaging with our clientele on social media? Is she sending out 25 responses into group messages about window cleaning? That's where you can really hold the accountability in the beginning. Once that starts to develop and your social media plan really, and I should say presence starts to develop, that's where you really can start to gauge kind of, okay, now what type of content is working well? I would say that's normally about a month in of solid posting, one post a day, that you'll be able to then gauge, okay, let's take a look at what we've done for this last month. And before going into quarter 3, let's make some adjustments and see the analytics and the insights and see what's hit, what our clients really enjoyed, what necessarily didn't get a lot of traction, and then analyze why that traction didn't happen. Because a lot of things, it can be different from time of day that it was posted. It could be because the type of post that it was, that there wasn't a call to action. So I know social media can be scary to people, but it actually, all these platforms make it really easy for you to view your insights and view the data. It's just making sure you understand from there how to make adjustments to improve those posts.
Cool. Yay. Martha, you're muted. Sorry.
Martha's muted, yeah. Sorry, Martha.
You wanted to turn the
I know she had her hand up before.
So. Your lead count should go up too. And so that would be your lag measure. Taylor's talking about the lead measures. But I was going to say since we're old school and we're just talking, on the newsletter, when I was really on my game with Dusting Divas, I was so good about doing a monthly newsletter to the clients and the employees. But and I copied the format of this guy who has a franchise maid service business. I want to say it was like 2 maids and a mop. I know I'm butchering that, so I don't know. He's out of Florida, but it did stick with me. And I remember I watched his newsletter for a while. I want to say he wrote a weekly one. I don't know if he still does, but one of the things that was really different about it at the time was that he had a section called Notes from the Owner. Oh. And with you guys, you do so many community events, but this guy basically, you watched his kids grow up through this newsletter. And, but, at first I was like, it's kind of weird, isn't it? And then I was, you get kind of involved in his story, and it makes perfect sense because our customers want to deal with people. And so having that section where they felt like they knew and trusted you was super helpful.
Well, you just reminded me, we took our entire team plus their significant others plus their families to this barbecue on Saturday. I took pictures. Yep. I did nothing with them. I didn't post them. I didn't share them in the Boxer chat. I didn't this is why we need a marketing person. But it was really fun. Jeff and I both came home, and it's been a while since we've been like at an in-person community event. Like, we've been doing lots of cultural events, but taking our team and them getting to see us interact with the community and them get to interact with the community and be like, oh, this is Mr. Stromberg. He's one of our top clients, and we're standing in line with him, and like, it was, oh, this is our field supervisor. Like, oh yeah, Bryce, he's been to your house. Like, it was really cool. So that's a good reminder. That would have been good to go in a newsletter. And
it still can too, by the way.
Okay. Well, Saturday.
Not like missing this opportunity.
No, kidding. And I was just going to say, your person that you're looking to hire, they can absolutely build out the format. You can give the outline, they can do all the graphics, and I reused it every time, just popped in new content and pictures. So
Well, I've been trying to twist Tay's arm for her next business idea, and I just said that publicly on the Fight Club podcast. So just saying, if anybody else
heard it, don't worry.
Maybe got like bombarded by asks for a newsletter template, Miss Graphic Design major in college. Maybe that would happen. Martha's giving me such dirty looks. I am in a bad mood, guys. We should stop. Paisley has a question, and then we'll go to money.
Okay. Looks like Paisley says, do you require the marketing role to respond to lead messages? So actually, this might be a really good answer for Michelle. Michelle, do you have your admins answer any things that come in through Facebook or Instagram? Do they handle any of that?
Well, we have a salesperson, and we just outsourced marketing in the last 30 days. And so I have a marketing individual that's working with our salesperson. So the salesperson's responsible for responding to any incoming leads currently, but the two of them are on a Trello board and they work collaboratively all day, every day.
I think she's asking though about your CSRs.
For our CSRs, yes, they're responsible for responding to all incoming leads. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
In our business model, yes.
So we would have a marketing person bring a lead, and then Cassie, our CSR, would answer the lead.
That would be my recommendation, Paisley. It's just to make sure that it keeps the water clean, because that's really your admin's strength, is handling those inbound calls, inbound leads, inbound messages. So you don't want to muddy the water with that. And that's that would just be my gut answer for that. And then last thing I do want to say is the beauty of having a marketing person on your team is they really can hold the owners accountable, AKA Meaghan likes. They really can be able to push the owners to share more about themselves, to put the business out there more, because that seems to be the first thing a lot of owners tend to not really realize they're doing, is holding themselves back on social platforms and really not sharing about the business itself, what you guys have to offer, and the amazing things that you do within the community. So make sure you hire someone who is very strong-willed and has the ability to push you as an owner to get that content out there, because that's going to make a drastic difference in your business.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's talk about money a little bit. I was not prepared. Surprise. It's morning. But we were all surprised by this Fight Club. I think I want to talk about, I've been working really hard on these accountabilities with my team and having them self-report. And it's been pretty transformational in the past month, and it's not been perfect. And every week we're kind of changing it up a little bit. But I'm loving this idea that I'm asking the same questions. And this is something Michelle's been trying to get me to do for like 18 months or something.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Michelle's awesome.
It's great. It's great. It helps.
She's way ahead of us. So asking the same questions every week, and then forming like a staff meeting agenda around the responses. And so having them report before the meeting, and then having a much more productive staff meeting. So we're having 2 weekly staff meetings. One we've been having for probably almost a year, but we didn't have the same questions. We were just kind of like putting out fires. We were being reactive instead of proactive. And so we just started becoming proactive. And that's our leadership meeting. So that's our CSR, our field supervisor, and then the 2 owners. And so now the questions, like each person is coming with reporting metrics to that meeting. So what were sales? What was production? What was the labor rate? That's going to be what I'm going to get really excited about over the next 6 months. Are we being efficient out in the field? How are the interviews going? Do we have anybody in the red zone? Those kinds of questions. That's what we're doing during the leadership meeting. And then we started doing a lead tech meeting. And so during this lead tech meeting, they were really craving having some say, like with the leadership team. So it's all of the lead techs plus the field supervisor plus the CSR. But in that meeting, the CSR is actually the one running the meeting. And it's been really fun to see, shout out to see Cassie really like level up and step up and hold the agenda. Some of the cool automations that we've set up, we don't have Slack all the way up yet, Michelle, but we're getting there. But this will happen as a Slack thing. So that we're sending out a weekly jot form. You can actually send those out automatically. And we're populating the responses in Airtable, which is very cool, so that we can actually watch the trends. And we're doing a lot more feel-good stuff Martha, I think, might appreciate, like them bragging on their fellow technicians. They're taking screenshots of their reviews. They're taking screenshots of their Cassie's texting me. I wonder if she's watching. If she is, I hope I'm not embarrassing you. They're taking screenshots of their QDS surveys. Our response rate has gone up way high. Also, if I get kicked out, I'm going to turn on my phone. I forgot my charger. Sorry, battery's low. Our response rate's gone way up, Martha, and that's something I've been really struggling with. So it's really helped. Like, we had one technician that had an 80% response rate last week.
Yay!
80%. That's insane. We're talking about our survey scores. If you are not a quality-driven software user, we're talking about survey scores.
I love it.
Oh, too many people are trying to add Tay back.
I love how you said you were kicked out, and I somehow got kicked out.
I did not kick you out, I promise. But I'm getting ready because I'm gonna get kicked out in just a second. Okay, so does anyone want to? It's easier if you ask me questions and we just like have a monologue.
Well, I want to know. Okay, can you go through the process again? I think that's fantastic. Like, what is the exact breakdown of how you're getting these responses? You said you're sending out questions on a weekly basis. Where are those questions coming from? Where does the job form come into play? How does that all get to the meeting? How does your CSR get ready? I think we should like talk through that because that's really valuable. And you're integrating a lot of different technology pieces it sounds like, to make this happen.
Michelle's like, just use Slack. Just use Slack. I'm like, I will. I'm
gonna be quiet. I'm being quiet over here.
I will. No, I can hear you in my head. You're saying all the right things.
Being quiet.
I think we should talk through this. I think it could be very beneficial for a lot of even admins as well as owners to hear this and talk through it. So once Meaghan gets back on and kind of switches over, we're going to add her in here.
Well, and Michelle can talk about how she does it through Slack.
Yeah, you do all of it through Slack, right, Meg?
Yes, everything is self-reported to Slack and it populates into a spreadsheet. So then we build graphs based on the spreadsheet. I like the spreadsheet because I can sort it a little bit better. I mean, you could report it to Airtable or Trello or some sort of a graphics platform, which is fantastic. I just personally like to be able to sort that data so that I can see who are the busiest CSRs in the organization, who are the busiest clients in the organization, who's had the most accepted calls, who's had the most busy calls. Like, I like to be able to, manipulate or manage the data a little bit. And a spreadsheet just makes that a tiny bit easier. So
how do you get it from the workflow to the spreadsheet?
You link it with a Google app in Slack, and then you call it or map it to a certain cell, and it creates that data point in that cell in the Google sheet.
Now you've changed my life again.
Sorry. So
no,
it's great because then
I love it because and then how much I love workflows and the fact because. If it wasn't you, I would be afraid it was going to be a manual thing. And
no manual.
Michelle's got that.
No manual.
I just got to say, Jay had the answer. Jay just hopped on our comment on Facebook and she did the answer right out there. She's our number one rock star. She always has the answer.
Yes. Yep. You add a row just like that. So it's automated. Yep. And it's great. So as those responses come in either daily or weekly, they just automate to a Google sheet. And then you can, like I said, manage that data by finding who's the top leader, who's this person. You can kind of organize data that way.
I feel like Airtable is the new Google Sheet though. And Paisley will appreciate this. Lee has been trying to move us to Airtable. It's like a fancy Google Sheet where you can a non-spreadsheet person. Michelle, you're going to be obsessed once you try it because it's color coded. You can sort it. You can track it. You can create dashboards. And Paisley, she's like, your Slack so blows my mind. She's the best. Paisley's boss is like the Airtable ninja. But either way, I agree. We want to be able to manipulate it and sort it. And also I want to be able to track it. Like I feel like in the past when we've surveyed, take our weekly bonus trackers, for example, we use those through Bamboo HR. We love that automation. Thank you, Michelle, for teaching us everything we know about Bamboo HR. It stores their weekly bonus tracker in their, here's a mouse. It stores their weekly bonus tracker in their employee file, which is really nice, but I don't have them all stacked. So it's hard to watch trends. So the next level, I think, is to take that bonus tracker and throw it into Airtable. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I got lost for a minute, guys. My computer died. I'm on my phone.
No sorries necessary. It's okay.
Michelle, do you have any new things that you've set up system-wise?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, outsourcing a marketing person was really, really, really beneficial. And it's funny because I met this person on an airplane coming, I think, to your event, Martha, in San Diego. So I sit down in row 21, which is the exit row because I have long legs. And I start striking up a conversation with the gentleman next to me. We get talking about what we do for work. And it come to find out that we actually do a very similar business. And he was the owner. And so he said, I outsource all kinds of C-suite individuals or high-level individuals or people in marketing and sales for businesses all over the world. And I was like, wow, well, I do that for customer service. So we started collaborating on some stuff. And about a month ago, I entered into their sort of ecosphere. It's called Growmotely. And they have an entire setup where they post your job ad. They do all the video interviewing so you can watch the videos. You can see what this person sounds like and looks like and feels like for your company. And then you choose them based on their, based on their history of work. And I found a young lady who's incredible and she's doing our marketing. And what my biggest pain point was in our business was I needed somebody that could manage HubSpot, that could take HubSpot and really turn it into the powerful tool that we're paying for, not just a lead magnet or lead generation. I wanted it to be even better. So she's come in and in no time flat, she's automated so much of our outreach. She's built a newsletter already. I just approved it 2 days ago, and she's already changing the way we touch our clients that have not either converted or clients that we haven't really spoken to yet. So she's building all of these workflows automatically. So when we have more sales or when we need a second salesperson or when that all happens, we'll be ready. So the infrastructure building is what's happening right now. So she's just behind the scenes. And I, for one, as a business owner, I know what I want, but I can't quite get there. I can't quite find the time to get there. And so for me, it just made sense to outsource that because stopping and training someone on HubSpot from 0 to hero just felt like it was going to be too much of a mountain for me to climb. So finding somebody that was already an expert, I think was great. And she's in her master's education for small business. So she also understands small business and gets why these touches are so important. So I've been super, super happy with their service, and I'll drop their link in the chat if anybody's interested. So really, really beneficial. She's from South Africa. So who knew? So yeah.
See, I'd love to hear you report back about how actually utilizing the full platform of HubSpot changes the business, because now you're going to end up being able to, you're already paying all this money for HubSpot, right?
Sure.
Now you're going to get way more benefits out of it because you've got an expert working on it, which is fantastic. Yeah. That's going to be really cool to see.
And, we were well enough versed to be dangerous, right? We could build a simple workflow for like 10 or 14 days, outreach by text and then send an email and then do this and then send a task to follow up. But people were dropping out of the bottom of the bucket and we weren't re-engaging with them, right? And so that re-engagement is the really important piece where I think a lot of businesses fall down. And that's why platforms for home service companies like Responsibid are so powerful, right? They just continue touching that person until they jump into the bucket somehow. So I'm using that same strategy with HubSpot, just how to keep them engaged over the duration, because every single business goes through the pain point at a different time. They might have an incredible in-house team today, but in 3 months that might change, or in 6 months. And so being able to be at the top of their mind is really the key for us. So
can you tell us more about this placement company? It sounds super fascinating. Like I'm CFO, COO, CEO, CMO, CTO. Like I'm just going to say all the C's.
All the C's. And then they also just do all kinds of placement for marketing and for sales and for support. I mean, they really have a breadth of people in their database. and they work all over the world. So I just put together a job spec and said, hey, I need a marketing person. These are our company core values. This is our, niche market. This is what we do. This is what we sell. And they put together a beautiful one-page job spec that I could have never written. Like, it was beautiful. Like, it said all the things that I would have wanted to say. And they put that out, and I was really, really impressed. So it's called Grow Remotely.
Is it placement, like you pay 1 month's salary to find a good match, or is it like a service where you're paying them directly? I just got a new EA, which I'm using through a service.
Oh, congratulations!
So excited. Well, I'm on my 4th, but we're working our way. Rachel started on Friday, so I'm very excited about Rachel. Oh, I lied. It's not Rachel. It's Rebecca.
Rebecca. It's this is a true agency model. So I pay the agency. So it's I pay them as a service, which is also a really nice thing. It's very similar to my service. It does not go in your COGS, right? It goes down below your line. So it's a service-based, cost. And I love that part. So it's not a payroll cost. It's an actual, different kind of cost for your P&L, which I appreciate. But no, they do engineering. They can hire recruiters. They can help doing debt collection. I mean, they can just do everything. Accounts receivable. They can do payroll. They can do it all. And we hired somebody full-time because I felt like we needed to really put a lot of resources behind getting HubSpot up to where it needed to be. But we can dial back to part-time. We can do certain hours. We can kind of come up with a different relationship moving forward. So I love it. I'm super excited. And we're trying actually to hire our second salesperson through them to see how that might work outsourced, but we'll see.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And one more time, remotely.
Grow Remotely, GROW. Yeah, Grow Remotely. And I'll put the link down below. I think they've got all kinds of other things. They do engineering as well. So they have, people that can build back-end stuff. They can do software engineering and back-end development as well. So they kind of have a really big breadth of people that they can place. And I've had a really good experience with our young lady named Abigail. She's fantastic. So that's good. So that's one of the things I've done for marketing, and we are super hopeful. This is the 31st of May, and we are hoping that July 1st, we will now have our blog post tied to all of our social media, which has been a little bit disjointed. She's gotten all that to talk to one another, and that our monthly newsletter will also be a blog post. So she'll repurpose all of that content that she's creating for the one thing. And then she's also grabbed, like all the things that we're on, all the podcasts that we're on and any other outreach. And she's cut all those things up and clipped them all up into beautiful little snippets so that we can use those for social media too. So it's good to have somebody that has the marketing brain, not just the owner's brain, because she can see all the information that we have to utilize and just uses it really strategically over and over and over again to reach out to people, which I just don't see that. Once I'm done with something, I just move to the next thing, right? And so she's really good about looking at the entire holistic thing of marketing and making an approach that's much more strategic than anything that I could have done. So I'm grateful for that.
And she's a self-starter. I mean, that's huge, is that you have somebody that you don't really have to direct so much, that she takes the reins and runs with it, and then comes back and says, okay, I did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So,
and Grow Remotely provides these outsourced individuals with an incredible culture on the back end. So they're all connected with one another in their little ecosystem, similar to Pink Collars. And I love that part. So she's being nurtured and checked on, and there's a little bit of management oversight that they provide to make sure she's on task and she's on track, and they're constantly checking with me. So it's really nice to kind of have that other level of support, I think, especially when it's something like marketing that you're not quite as well versed in as a business owner. I'm certainly not well versed in it. I just keep getting out on the road and getting on camera, but there's so much more that we could be doing. And so it's really helpful to have that other eye on it. So
that's awesome.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's super fun. But yes, we work with her on Trello and Slack, and we're just building workflows because it's like we're only about a month in. on things, but she has a task list on Trello that I just add questions to or add things to, and she's consistently just knocking things out of the park. So I really like that.
Nice.
That's what I got, people. Okay, Martha, you want to talk about some people stuff? I feel like all I did was talk about systems, as in placing a new person from another collaborative company remotely into my company. So that was good.
Well, so I was thinking a couple of places, and I guess I'll go and talk about the hire who route, because just to follow up with what you were talking about, Michelle. So I don't have to hire service technicians anymore, but I do have to hire developers, and I am trying to hire developers. I don't know if I should say that live, but I will, that are in other countries where their cost of living is lower, so that development is so expensive in the US, and you're talking at least 100 plus an hour. And so anyway, I have been using Hire Who and just started doing this because they have the video portion you were talking about, Michelle. And it's very interesting because one of my things when I'm hiring a developer, and I know I'm talking about hiring a developer, but you guys can take this and twist it for service technicians or salespeople or whatever.
Or CSRs or bookkeepers or client success managers or
anything.
But I've been using the video part because I need to know that I can communicate well with them. Yeah. I mean, it's just imperative that they understand what the project is that I want done and that I can understand what they're trying to convey to me. So it's pretty cool. I sit there and I have questions and I'm asking them to expound on this. And so, it's been a real litmus test, because before I was getting on Zoom calls with everybody and being like, okay,
now
I'm kind of stuck as courtesy to them for 30 minutes,
Yep.
And so it's been pretty awesome. So if you can find a way to add some video into your hiring process, it's a good way for you to get to know each other prior to meeting. And like I say, some of it is just, so for me, I'm not looking for how they dress, how they appear, anything like that for me. But do they come on and they're like, hey, yeah, well, in answer to your question, or are they like, oh yeah, those hours sound great and blah, 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 you can do a lot of that.
Well, and for us, like we've tried to automate our Hire Who as best as we can. And it's one of the things I love about it. And if you're using a different applicant tracking system, by all means, do it with that as well if you can. But exactly. We've kind of created a funnel. If you think about your marketing funnel, Hire Who has built out a funnel so that we're attracting with a very compelling job ad as many people as we can. Then we have our knockout questions. Then we have our interview questions. Then we have our assessment tests. And up until that point, everything is completely automated so that they're being moved to either the next stage or being kicked out given their responses. Now, the interview questions are not dynamic, so a human has to read them. But what we do is we don't go back and read them until after they've completed the assessment and passed with a certain percentage score. So if they get 75% or better, what we were doing before is we would go read those interview questions, and we've usually asked like 10, and there were only 2 that we were really like interested in. But now the next step is you can actually set a trigger so that if they get a certain percentage on their assessment, that's what sends them the video interview. And so you can save a ton of time going through these video interviews and not having to, watch a bunch of them. Next level for us was having my EA then do it. And I'd say, like, just what Martha described, I am looking for these traits. if they are hemming and hawing or umming, like just skip them over or auto reject. I want somebody who comes on and this is what I'm looking for. And then she would give us her top 10 and then we would choose our top 3. And it just makes hiring somebody so much easier. And Jeff gets excited because then he's like, all I have to do is show up to the interviews now. Like literally it's a recruiting
so
system
much better.
that is and because they've gone through all these hoops, guess what, guys? They show up to the interviews.
Right.
Like they don't stand them up because they've already jumped through all these hurdles. And you can add in a phone interview, but what we've found is now that Dom's released the video interviews, we don't need to do phone interviews anymore. It takes away the phone interview part.
Right. And to that point, I hear a lot people saying, well, in this job market, I can't make them jump through more hoops. And my answer to that is, well, if you want to just hire anyone, you're correct. If you want a warm body and you don't have any hiring standards per se, that you just need people, then you're right. You got to cut out all the steps. But if you really want that right candidate, best that you can select, then these are people who actually want your job, the job that you're offering.
I would argue in this hiring environment, you cannot afford to not ask these questions, because for us, turnover it's killing us. We cannot bring in cancer to our organization because who we fought hard to get. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff just got a charger, even though he's super
sick. He's
and sunglasses. God, that man's amazing. Sorry, I'm sick. We can't afford to bring in just anybody because it will tank the culture that we're fighting really hard to preserve and one that Martha helped us build. But I think that for any other reason, that's the most important one. Like, we owe it to our existing staff to continue to qualify people as rigorously as we ever have, if not more.
Right. And the things that we're talking about, again, we just happen to use HireWho, but you can, I don't know about the video part, but most everything else you can work into some kind of automations. Keep, Service Autopilot has automations,
Rapid Hire IO is one that we really like.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's lots of options out there.
Yeah. But the one that Martha and I use is HireWho. Yeah. Well, hopefully that was good for somebody, right? Like, I'm excited that you're using it for developers. Martha's using it for developers. We just did it for Likes Accounting. My new AI, Rebecca, not Rachel, just did it for Likes Accounting. So we've got a bookkeeping position open. We have a client success manager position open. And we have a personal assistant position open. So it's kind of exciting to see how that works.
All right. Well, are we doing, I guess we're doing homework still, right?
We can, absolutely. Why not?
Okay. All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
You know what time it is.
We're inching close to the top of the hour. So when it comes to homework, just a reminder to everyone, we do request that you only do one piece of homework just to make sure that you are really focusing on that piece and moving the needle forward in your business. If you want to do some bonuses and do some extra, awesome. We do have an accountability group that is on Facebook that will drop the link in the comments. So that way you have access to us and some of our awesome other listeners who have joined that accountability group. That way you can really be able to have some friends in order to complete your homework. So as far as marketing homework goes, we talked a lot about kind of how to structure the plan for a marketing manager to come into the business. So this can be done not only for the marketing manager, but also if you're in the position as you're still the business owner doing the marketing, you can still structure this for yourself as well. That way you have a marketing plan that you're working with on a weekly basis and it's not getting pushed to the wayside, right? So my recommendation would be just to go ahead and start a Trello board that's dedicated to marketing. And from there, assign yourself some accountabilities, assign yourself some due dates that you know for sure are going to be on a weekly basis to get things out content-wise to your clientele and your social media presence. Now that, again, can be to yourself as the owner, or you can be sitting down with your marketing manager and working on this together. But having that structure of a calendar on a weekly, monthly basis and quarterly as well will really allow for you to see the overall plan start to develop. Now, I do remember on a few episodes ago, we did have one of our guests, I can't remember offhand because I just thought of it, but if you're struggling to think of content things for this plan, really think from the macro, micro to nano breakdown. And this was recommended by one of our guests who was also recommended. They got a recommendation from a marketing manager in particular who developed this idea. But this is really starting with a large topic.
I think that was Josh.
I think it was.
Josh Latimer episode.
Yeah.
Oh, it was, yeah.
And I can't remember who he said. I want to say it was something with an R, maybe a Rachel or something.
I know. I got Rachel, Rebecca confused. I don't know. But go back and watch our 100th episode with Josh Latimer.
Yes.
He talks about the macro, micro, nano.
Absolutely. That will help you develop that plan as well. So my homework is to build a marketing calendar within Trello, assign due dates, and develop it along the macro, micro, nano plan.
I love it. And I'm just going to give a small plug. Nope. How about a plug? A plug for Tay, that we are doing a Rockstar admin training again in August. So if you have been wondering what that was all about and are interested in that, we are going to be partnering with the huge convention in Nashville again. We're going back to, I feel like this house in Nashville 6 times this year. We're going to Nashville again, and we're doing that Rockstar admin training. And one of the takeaways, like one of the very valuable things, is Tay will give you her social media content calendar Trello board, which is completely plug and play, not only from content strategy standpoint, but also she gives you all the Canva templates. So the templates are there. All you have to do is throw your logo in there, throw your branding colors in there, throw your own pictures in there if you want. Otherwise, she has stock images, and she's got like every day of the year figured out pretty much. Not entirely, but almost. It's worth the cost of admission. I don't think we have a sign up link yet, but that is your teaser and plug that Rockstar admin training. If you want Tay's content calendar, you should totally sign up, or more especially send your admin there so we can all trade you. Oh, and Paisley, as an alumni of the Rockstar admin training, says it's beautiful, and we did not pay Paisley to take that. That was legit.
We did not.
We did not.
Okay. For your finance homework, I'm going to show you my chicken scratch. Whoops, this is very embarrassing. This is my full focus planner from one day when I was having a leadership meeting with my leadership team, and we wrote out what should we ask our lead techs every week. And we just wrote it out. And then, because it's me, I threw it in a Google Doc, and then I threw it in a Jot form, and then it went to an Airtable, right? But you can make this as simple as you want. This could be a manual text message in a group chat if it needed to be. But what are some questions that you want to be asking your team on a weekly basis? And try 1 week, see what you get back. And naturally, you're going to crave something. You'll be like, oh, that didn't go as well as I wanted. Or, oh, now I want to know this. Try and keep it simple. Try and keep it to like 5 if you can. And then next level would be to set up an automation around that. But this is something like we have only done 3 lead tech meetings so far. I mean, we've been doing like staff meetings, safety meetings, morning meetings, toolbox meetings. We do all these other meetings, but this is like a very intentional time away from work, building them up to be leaders. I think that's our goal for this year, is building more leaders within our company. And your finance homework is to challenge you to do the same. And it could be as simple as asking them, every single leadership person in your company, the same 5 questions, and then having a meeting about those replies. And I think Martha even has like a staff meeting agenda probably that she could share somewhere hiding. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's your finance.
And your systems homework is to think about outsourcing one of these key roles in your companies. Check out Growmotely. I think they're a great company. I've been using them quietly for a while to confirm that I could absolutely stand behind their service, and I absolutely can. So let's talk about those outsourced possibilities if you need just some fast gas on the fire for some of these roles in your company. And I will put the link in our Facebook group. So that's your homework. Check them out.
Okay. And your people homework is find a way to automate your hiring process. So part of the problem with recruiting is if you're going after lots of applicants, then part of it is you managing all of those leads and working them through the system. And if you're doing it in a manual way, you're going to be the bottleneck 9 times out of 10. So eliminate yourself as the bottleneck and find a way to automate much of that process. Up until the decision making.
Love it.
Beautiful.
And I know Tay said it, but I'm going to just reiterate it. That was a lot of homework. We do not expect you to do all of it. In fact, we are going to ask you to only do one thing. If you can do one thing to move the needle forward every single week, you will move the needle forward. And if you need help, we have a Facebook group where we can help you. Like, it's like office hours, or, you know, you can have your own private tutor with one of us in that Facebook group. So we encourage you to join that group.
That's all right.
I love it. And we always close with a quote. And I found a really cool one. It sounds, Meaghan, like you're using some of these EOS tools. And I loved this one from John Dewey. And he says, we do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. So getting those KPIs and then reflecting on them seems like something we kind of all talked about today. So thank you all for joining us here on Fight Club. We had a blast as always. Old school was fun. I'm sorry for our guest who was sick.
Thanks, Paisley.
Yeah, thanks, Paisley. Yeah, and Jay, thank you. Everybody have a fantastic day, and we will see you next week, which will be in June. Yay!
Go fight!
Go fight, everybody. Have a good day.